Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Who is Bob Santo?
Oh, that's me. That's Frederick Prince Amache. I'm yet to change that name, but it's me.
Okay. And JBK?
It's me, Bosco.
Oh, John, I'm sorry. iPhone?
No problem.
I see an iPhone user without label. One iPhone user. All right, okay, with some time. All right, John, let me start the slide for you. Can you all see my screen?
No,
Can you see?
Yes, sir.
yes.
All right. All right, John, the floor is yours.
Okay. All right. Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Yeah, good to see you again after a couple of days. It's another weekend, and it's about time we are trying to build a career together, right? All right. So today we are looking at surgical instrumentation and central service. Today you are going to get to know a whole lot about what you are expected to do after you have cleaned the instruments, or basically what you are expected to know for a successful surgery to take place. So the focus today is surgical instrumentation and the role that you are supposed to play. The instrument, how it looks like, how it is manufactured, what to look for. If you see it, is everybody hearing me clear, loud and clear?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I'm expecting that we will be able to finish early for you to do whatever assignment or quizzes that you need to take. So just listen, and when you need to ask questions, please don't hesitate. Pause me, ask your question, and then we move forward. It's a very simple thing. Hopefully, we'll get out quickly. So the basic or the objectives, or at the end of the day, what we are expecting that you take home or you understand at the end of this lesson is to be able to discuss the importance of surgical instrument and the role that you, the central sterile technician, plays in the care and the handling of the instruments. Okay, the importance of the instrument and what is your role in handling it is one objective. Two, basic steps in the surgical instrumentation or surgical instrument manufacturing process. So we will get to know how it is manufactured. That is our goal by the end of the lesson. Define basic categories of surgical instrument based on their functions and identify the points of inspection. So basic instruments, what are the basic ones? Okay, how they function, and what to look for when we see them or we touch them or we handle them. How where to inspect for something that will lead to a negative impact of the surgery. So it's one of another objectives to that we'll be able to do take away when we the lesson or today's chapter is over. Identify common chemical solutions that can damage stainless steel instruments. Something that is supposed to be stainless can get damaged if we don't properly handle it or we leave it to a certain condition. It can become, it will not be stainless steel any longer. We'll look at what chemicals that we need to be mindful of by the end of the lesson. Explain procedures to test for sharpness. So we will be able to see instruments that are supposed to be sharpened, how to test them, what they're supposed to do, what is the material that we're supposed to use to test them. We will get to know that hopefully by the end of the lesson. Review, explain procedures to test. Okay, that's that. Review instrument marking methods used for faster and easier device identification. So we'll see how some of the instruments are marked to be able to identify them either at the departmental level or by the manufacturer design. Then identify common errors when assembling instruments and how to avoid them. Is another objective, another goal that we will get or take away by the end of the lessons. Next slide, please. So every year, instruments are manufactured for different procedures over the globe or the face of the earth. A lot of surgeries go on. That is just the basic introduction there. It says about 310 surgeries go on annually. And if you narrow it down to the United States, about 50 or 40 to 50 million happen in the United States. So a phrase of course. So if 50 or 310 surgeries go on in the world, you can imagine the number of instruments that get involved in all these 330 or 310 surgeries. These excludes surgeries that take place in the ambulatory care centers, in the doctor's office, in the dental office. Those are not captured. Those are not reported. We are talking about the main hospital system across the face of the globe. That is the number of surgeries that take place. So we will get to know how many instruments that we process just for these surgeries to be successful. All right. The role of the central cell technician. It says central cell technician play a crucial role in ensuring that surgical instruments are clean, they function, and are available for use. So our role is very, very critical in surgery success. Our role is very, very critical in surgery safety. Our role is very, very critical in the quality of service that the patient gets when procedure or surgery is ended. If we make any mistake, it will impact the outcome of the patient surgery negatively. If we do well and the instruments are clean, they are well packaged according to the sizes, according to the nature, according to the type of instrument the doctor is or the surgeon is asking for, then we are expecting that the outcome of the surgery will be perfect. So we play a role. So make sure that the role that we are supposed to play, you play it to the best of your ability so that the patient will get the best outcome possible. Next slide, please. Importance of instrument selection and inspection. So, because you are not the one doing the surgery, the doctor is the one who specifies what instrument he wants in doing his surgery. Yours is to make sure that what he requires, the doctor is requesting, you will put exactly that for him or her. All right. And as we said, because of the volume of surgeries that go on the face of the earth or on the face of the planet Earth, a gazillion of instruments are being processed every day, every hour, every month. All right. So the doctor's request is what we in the set. If you come to the OR setting, we call it the preference card. The doctor's list of items that he needs to be able to do a procedure is what we call the preference card. All right, for the procedure. So the importance of instrument selection is very, very important. The doctor plays a part and then central sterile technician also plays a part. If the doctor is asking for something, you put a different item there, what will be the impact of the surgery? You are going to delay the whole process. The outcome will be very, very horrible. So surgical instruments can appear like alike, but are designed for specific task. If using the wrong instrument can complicate the procedure. Well explained. You don't need anybody from the moon to come and explain this. It's simple. All right. Instruments will look alike. You will see them very soon, but they perform different roles. They asking for one, you don't put the other in there. That's what it's basically talking about. All right. Inspection of instruments. So inspecting instrument is as critical as selecting the right ones. Instrument must be checked for condition before use, whether it is dull or it is damaged. Instrument can lead to delays and complications. Well explained in the first one. The next one says dull or damaged instrument can delay procedure and harm patients. All right. How does that happen? How will something that is dull harm a patient? So if the scissors is supposed to cut, it is supposed to cut on one attempt. The surgeon is trying to cut a tissue with a scissors. And because the scissors is dull, he has to use multiple attempts to cut something that is supposed to cut one time. So if that happens, then it means that the tissue may end up being damaged, or because of the several attempts that the doctor or the surgeon is making to get that cut clean. So that is why we have to make sure that at the end of this lesson, you will see how to test the instrument to make sure that those that are sharpened go to the OR to be used, and those that are dull are taken out to be sharpened. Loose or broken parts can fall into patients, causing injury. So when an instrument, you are putting instruments together, you have to inspect them, making sure that screws that are supposed to be secured in place are not losing, parts that are supposed to be secured are not losing or are not broken. Because when you send them loose, the temptation is that in the process of being used, they can fall in the patient's internal the patient system. And if it is not seen, it will be closed, and then the patient will go home with that piece. And the long-term effect is that it's going to come back. It is not the right place. It is not the right environment for the instrument to be. What is going to happen is that the patient is going to come back to the hospital infected, regardless of whether that part was sterilized or not. All right. So we have to be on the lookout for that. Cleanliness and assembly. Cleanliness and assembly. Any question so far? Any question? Any question? One more time. Any question? Good. So let's yes, yeah. I thought somebody was asking a question. We good?
Correct. We
Yeah,
good.
we're good.
All right. Okay. So if I'm moving too fast, let me know so that I slow down. All right. So cleanliness, and assembly. So instrument must be carefully inspected for what? Cleanliness. There are certain portions of the instrument that we have to inspect. But you will realize that will be towards the end of the lesson or the chapter. But generally, you need to look at the instrument. The expectation is that you will touch every instrument, whether you are in decontent or you are in the assembly section. You have to touch it and inspect it, especially at the assembly session. Whether it is clean, does it have any fatty tissues on it, does it have any debris of any kind, you have to, if it is instrument with channels, you have to flush it, you have to brush it and see whether any residue was left behind it. You have to look at certain parts, either the box locks. You have to look at the teeth, look at the serrations. You have to look at the ratchet, whether you have any bio-bedding, whether any cracks are there. All of this you have to look at to make sure that what you are putting in there is clean, because we are supposed to provide the most cleanest instrument for the surgery to take place. Number two, it says the CS technician is responsible for the proper assembly of instrument. Proper, what do we mean by proper assembly of instrument? So ensure that all instruments are correctly assembled. Correctly assembled. So if the instrument is asking for, or the set, the tray, if you hear set, when you get into the department, you hear set and tray, we're talking about a bunch of stuff coming together to form something. So if the set is asking for a coker, it's asking for an instrument called coker, you do not put a roger. Okay, it's like what we speak or we say putting square pegs in round holes. If you put a square peg in round hole, what will happen? There'll be empty spots, right? So you have to put a round peg in a round hole, and then they will fit. So that is your role. Your role is to make sure that you do according to what the set instruction is giving you, which we call count sheet. All right. You get to know that once you step in. So your role, after inspecting that it is clean, you have to make sure that you assemble it according to the right, the correct assembly, the right way to do it. And then you have to make sure that it is functioning well. How do you know it is functioning well? When you test it, which we shall see later in the chapter, you have to test it to make that it is functioning well. And once you test it, it's functioning, then you add it to the set and let it go through the process, get it sterilized, and get it ready for what? Use. Okay. If you take a forceps, you have to make sure that it aligns. If it is scissors, you have to cut and cut clean. It cannot cut and get stuck around the way. It means that when the doctor is cutting the tissue, he will struggle to cut it clean. All right. The third one is errors may not be caught until the procedure begins. So you can imagine when you make a mistake, we cannot see through the container in which your instrument is. So we cannot tell. The manager cannot tell that you made a mistake. The nurse cannot tell you made a mistake. The surgical tech cannot tell whether you made a mistake. The whole team in the room cannot tell that you made a mistake until the set is open. Once the set is open and it is put in the sterile field, which is in the room, sorted out or being sorted out, that is when we will realize that what? An error has been committed. And by that time, it means that we have to pause, the room has to pause, and then get back to the storage room, try to get the right instrument, and you can imagine what happens. If it is open and it is a wrong instrument, it is even much easier. But if it is dirty, it means that all the instruments that have been opened is deemed contaminated. Every tray that was open, if it were 20 trays, all of them is deemed what? Contaminated. They have to unpack and then clean the room and then bring new set of what? Instrument. What happens? You are adding more job or more work to the department because of not being, because you did not inspect the instrument or you made a mistake, you put a dirty instrument there, delay the process, you add more work to the department, and that's adding to what? Cost. Next slide, director. Now I will need somebody. I have to get the class involved now. Let me see. I have some nice. Let me start from the known to the unknown. Is Jawara there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Jawara, take this one for me.
Okay. Basic questions about surgical instrumentation. TX technicians often have common questions when learning about surgical instruments. Understanding these questions help in proper instrument care and handling. Where do instruments come from? Physicians determine the required instruments for specific procedures. Most instruments are purchased and maintained by the healthcare facility.
Okay.
Okay.
You continue. Finish the point, and I will explain.
All right. While some are loaned for specific surgeries and returned afterward.
Okay. So the question you will ask yourself is, where did the instruments come from? Okay. Like I explained earlier, the physician, they say physician is a surgeon, they say it's a doctor. They determine what instrument you will need for the procedure. All right. So the question that is lingering in your mind, you have been asking your mind, where did he think about this? He is the one who is going to use it. So he tells us what he will need. Okay. So the hospital, most of the time, the basic instrument and some of the complex instrument, the hospital buys it. Okay. They acquire them. So we keep it and then we reprocess it and use. But in the event that the hospital or the facility does not have the required instrument, we reach out to the vendor, the seller, or the manufacturer, or the third party who does the distribution and make an arrangement for it to be delivered to us for use for that particular procedure, for that particular day, for that particular week. And after the instrument or tray or set is used, that particular one that the hospital has, we return it. And if you are loaning something, you have to pay a fee. If you go and take money for the bank, take a loan for the bank, you have to pay interest. So if you take a loaner or an instrument you borrow it from a facility or a third party or a manufacturer that you did not buy or you did not pay upfront, when you use it, you pay what we call a loan fee. All right. So the instruments that are coming from outside that the hospital or facility does not have, we call them what? Loaners. We call them what? Loaners. So you will see these loaners coming day in, day out from different vendors, Stryker, Smith and Nephew, Zima, Synthes, Right Medical, and a bunch of them. Some of them will be so wild, you've never heard them before. All right. Once you step in, you get to know what we mean by loaders. Yes, I'll continue the next one.
Okay. Why must instrument requirements be so exact? Surgeons require precise instruments for specific functions due to the complexity of human body. Instruments that appear similar may serve entirely different purposes.
All right, good. So the question you ask, why is the surgeon so much bothered about that the needle holder must be 6 inches? It must be 6 inches because we are dealing with a very complex being or a very complex one, animal, which is the human being. Human being's life you can't put any price on it. So the surgery they do, it must be precise so that the human being will go back to his original state. There must not be any outcome that will impact the patient negatively. So if, for example, the surgeon is asking for a needle holder 6 inches and you give the surgeon a needle holder 5 inches, you have shortened the distance that he's able to travel without obstructing the field in which he's working. All right. So please make sure that you will follow the instruction given by the count sheet and assemble according to that. Next slide, Director. Thank you, Jawara.
No
I'll
problem.
take this one and then the next person. Shania, get ready. Is Shania in class today? Why are you laughing?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'll take this one, then you help me with the next one, okay?
Okay.
Good. So how do instruments get their names? How do instruments get their names? So if those of us from the Ghanaian community, our names generate sometimes our tribe where we come from, we have a certain name that they give us. Some they give you the name based on the day you were born. Some They give you a name based on maybe some characteristics that you come with in the family that somebody had that those characteristics before. Okay, so every cultural setting they have the names that they give. Okay, when you come to our setting as central style processing, the instrument that we get, they have what? Names. How did they get the names? Okay, either they are named after somebody who manufactured it, or they are named according to the way it is used, they are named according to the certain parts of where they come from. All right, so we'll get to see that. That's what it means by how did they get the names. So the names that you get to see, most of them are named after the person, or they are named because of certain characteristics that they, or certain function they perform. So many instruments are named after the anatomical area they are designed for. That is the part that they are supposed to play, the specific part that they're supposed to play in the human being, they are named after that. That's what it basically means. All right. And others are bear the names of the what? The inventor, the manufacturer, the one who designed the instrument. Sometimes the name after the person. So, such as book water, all right, book water retractor, DeBakey, Mayor Scissors, and have Jacobson, Mosquito, and a bunch of them. Even though I've been working trying to explain to you, I can't even think of the names are not coming. All right, Jacobson, Kelly. I'm sure that you have heard a lot of people call Kelly, right? So we have a Kelly as an instrument. So you ask yourself, is the person you are watching the TV then calling Kelly, is it the one who made the instrument? Yes, maybe somebody in the past called Kelly made the instrument. So we have some instruments are named after the person who designed it. All right, like the way we have people, some these clothing people, they design Nike. Give me the names of the clothing. Yes, so they give the name
Jordan.
Jordan. Yes, thank you. That all right. So they name it after the person who brought the idea. So that's some of the
Valentina.
instrument. Valentina. Whatever. All right. I'm not. I'm just the simple the man in the street. I'll just go and grab one and go. All right. So know that the instrument you'll be getting in the department, they have names after the inventors, and some of them are their names pinpoint to you which part of the human being it works on. All right. Okay. Good. Then the next one says, why are surgical instruments so expensive? Why are they expensive? All right. Sometimes when they mention the price of one instrument, it's about your salary or your income you made for 1 month. Just one piece. All right. Or sometimes one of them, the amount is like your whole entire year income that the hospital will use to buy that. Why? So, why are they so expensive? So let's see. Surgical instruments are precision tools requiring labor-intensive manufacturing process. While machines are involved, skilled professionals perform essential tasks like sharpening and inspection by hand, increasing what costs. So we cannot take out the role machines play in manufacturing instruments. But the human being is still involved in that. It's the human being that will set up the machine to do the production. Human being will have to inspect it. Human being will have to sharpen it. So all of these add what to cost. And because it is not just any tool that is used in any environment, it is used on a human being, and life is very, very, very important. They spend all the skill and time that is needed to make sure that things are done right. things are done well. So it's so time consuming. So a lot of people have to be hired, and people have to be very, very experienced to do that. And they take, when you have a lot of experience and you have a lot of value, you take a lot of money. So machines, you make some part of the instrument, and the rest of it is completed by the human being. So it's multifaceted way of doing things. Machines make part, human being continue the rest, and it comes out perfect for, because the doctor needs it perfect to be able to do a perfect surgery. So you must cross your T's and dot your I's. Otherwise, the impact will be negative. Next slide. Yeah, Shania, give me this one.
Okay. Instrument manufacturing process. The production of surgical instruments begins with material selection, followed by forging, grinding, and finishing. Materials used stainless steel and other metal. Stainless steel, the most common material, though it can still stain and corrode. Proper care ensures longevity. 400 series stainless steel. Hard heat, hard heat hardened steel used for sharp-edged instruments like scissors, osteo osteotomes, chisels, rongers, forceps, hemostatic forceps, and needle holders.
Okay, hold on there. So first, to manufacture instrument, you have to select the materials that you use. Okay, if you were going to make you want to make a cheeseburger, you have ingredients that you have to put together to get a cheeseburger. So if you are going to make an instrument, you have to select the material that you want to use. Okay, the materials that you most are used for the instrument that we deal with are stainless steel materials and other metals. Okay, that we'll get to know. But when you come to the stainless steel metals or material, we have two of them, 400 series and then 300 series. Okay, 400 series and 300 series, stainless steel. The 400 series is called martensitic. Martensitic what? Stainless steel material. Okay, they are very, very hard. Okay, when you hit them and leave them in a control environment. Control environment that you regulate the temperature and everything and certain external factors, they come out very, very hard. And they use them to produce instruments that we use for cutting, like scissors. All right. Instrument, osteotomes, we use it to shave bones. Okay. Chisels, everybody knows chisels, right? To shave something or to cut or to hammer something that is very hard. All right. Chisel. Rongeurs, to bite tissues. Okay. Forceps, to manipulate. Okay. To hold, to manipulate. Hemostatic forceps, to clamp something to stop the flow of fluid or anything, okay, or to hold something in place, okay. Blood is most of the time blood related, and needle holder. This is just a few. They are not going to be able to list everything, all right. But always remember that 400 series stainless steel is hard, it lasts long, is used for making instruments that are sharp, that are used for what? Cutting, shaving, biting, holding in place. All right. You have to remember that. There's no way about it. So always remember that stainless steel, we have two kinds, 400 series stainless steel, which is called martensitic, and then the 300. She'll be taking the 300 very soon. But know that the 400 is the commonest one that is used. All right. And it is used for scissors, jaws, chisels, osteotomes, forceps, hemostatic forceps, and the rest. Yes, give me the 300 series.
300 series stainless steel. Softer, more corrosion resistant, but non-magnetic. Used for instruments like retractors, cannules, rib spreaders, and suction devices. Other materials include titanium, copper, and silver.
All right, good. So, for 300 series is much softer than the 400. Okay, but it is corrosive resistant. It cannot corrode easily. All right, and it is non-magnetic. It is non-magnetic. It is used for retractors. It is used for cannulas, rib spreaders. Rib spreaders are instruments that we use for thoracic cases or chest-related surgeries. Okay, retractors means to push aside, to open, to expose something. They are those ones. We'll get to see them shortly, very, very shortly. All right. And as 400 series is what? Called multistic. The 300 series is called austenitic. Austenitic. All right. I remember my year when I was taking the exam, there was a question around this area. They have since revised the exam several times, so I can't guarantee, but there was a question around the 400 series still. All right. So just be on the lookout for it. It's been a while. I don't know how it looks like. So be on the lookout for that area. Then other materials include titanium, copper, and what? Silver. Titanium, copper, and what? Silver. We'll get to see them shortly. So these are the materials that they use in producing what? Or in manufacturing the instrument that you'll be dealing with once you get into the system. Tawfiq, so let me take this one, then Tawfiq, get ready for the next slide, okay? Key surgical instrument types. Key surgical instrument types. Scissors, used for cutting and dissecting tissue. Self-explanatory. Osteotomes and chisels, used for cutting and shaping bones. Then rangers, used for cutting bones and tissues. Or bite some other in the material, you can also see biting away bones or tissues. Same thing. Forceps, used for grasping and holding objects. Hemostatic forceps, used to control bleeding. So blood flow, the blood vessels, they use it to stop it. Okay. You see, how do they stop it? They clip it and then lock the ratchet in place. And the doctor doesn't have to do anything, just lock it in place and then continue to work wherever he wants to or she wants to work with. And then the blood will stop flowing to other parts. Okay. Needle holders, designed to hold suture needles. Designed to hold suture needles. The needles that we use to sew open wounds, or when they cut you and they do the surgery, whether minimal or open case, they close the place up. They can't leave it open. They close it up with by suturing. That's why the needle is what they use. They can't use their their hands. So they use the needle to suture the place, to close up the place. Retractors, used to expose surgical sites. I did explain that. Cannulas, they have channels that they use to suction liquids, okay, or fluids. So hollow instrument for drainage, okay, that is cannulas. Rib spreaders, I said it, is related to thoracic cases, chest. They use it to open up chest procedures or the chest for procedures. So chest spreaded retractors used in chest surgeries, okay. Then suction devices used to remove fluids from the surgical site. When they cut open you, definitely they are not stopping the blood from flowing. If they do that, they are going to kill you, right? So the blood is flowing. So the blood covers the surgical site. What do they do to be able to see what they want to take away or what they want to heal you of? Okay, they have to suction, they have to take the fluid, the blood from that area so that the surgical site is exposed to whatever manipulation they wanted to do. Any question? Any question? Oh, Sanaya, I don't want to give you this simple one. So let me take it. Then I'll give you I want you to read the one that has a lot of materials there. Okay, so sorry, Tawfiq, you hold on. Let me take this one. And then when I get the one with a lot of writings, then I can take a breather. So manufacturing process. After you have selected the material, be it 400 series, 300 series, copper, titanium, silver, all right? You want to start the process of manufacturing it. Every manufacturing or every process, whatever you are trying to manufacture, has a pattern, it has a design. You would first draw it, you create a pattern, and then you move from there. So the first process is what we call forging. Forging simply means that you heat the metal, whatever materials, into a liquid form, and you create the pattern. You pour into something that you have cut out that will give you the shape that you have designed. That's basically what it is, forging. That's what this simply means. So heating and shaping stainless steel into rough instrument outlines. What is an outline? Something that you have already created. So high quality forging comes from countries like Germany, Japan, Sweden, and sometimes you see France is also there. Some instruments also come from what? Switzerland is also there, and I think Pakistan also makes some. Yeah, and we'll get to know in the future. Along the line, we'll get to see some of this Pakistan with some have issues. So most of the instruments are coming from Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, France. I must tell you, a lot of the instruments are coming from Germany. A lot. Most of the instruments are coming from. So the first stage of the process is to do what we call forging. Heat the metal, get it to its liquid state. So you can imagine the temperature at which you can heat a metal to get it to become liquid. Then it is poured into that pattern to create the shape. So once the forging is done, the shape is going to come out is not going to be the best. So you have to fine tune it. You have to refile it, go through other processes to get it to the perfecto level you want. Okay, so that is the next. So you go to the next one, which is grinding and milling. I say removing excess. That metal the shape that you have formed, that is not the final product. So you have to file it with some other instruments to get it to the size, smoothness, and everything that you need to be like. So removing excess material from it, and the filing can take up to 20 times. You can file it and then test it and see what is the best you want. No, let me file this place again. You file it a little bit. Let me file this side. No, you lift it and see whether it's aligning the way you want it to align. It's not aligning. You file it. You have the guys. If you go to a barber shop, the barber will flip your head this way, give it one shape, flip another one. You bend your head from the back. Sometimes you lift your occiput. Before you finish, you have been given a serious massage at the barber shop. That is how the process is. It's just making sure that the barber is making sure that you come out, you get up, you leave his shop. Your wife will see you or your girlfriend will see you and say, "Wow, this is nice." All right. This is just by the way. All right. Any questions so far? Can I continue?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. All right. So you forge, you grind, or you mill. Then we take it to the next one. It says finishing. Finishing means that you're about to get the final product. Okay. Finishing. There are a lot of steps there. So once you file, you get a smooth. Now finishing means that involves polishing of the instrument. What color, what is the final finish you want it to have? Do you want it to have a shiny finish? You use the materials that will give it a shiny finish. The final finish is what the process is preservation. Okay, we'll be looking at it very shortly. You make sure that it comes, that process of that final finish where the polishing is done is called passivation. All right. Then we also do test to see whether it's sharpened. So you sharpen it the way you want it to cut. All right. If it is to be serrated, you do the serration and all of that, and you inspect to ensure it is of what quality. So the final stage, so you forge, create the pattern, you take the excess materials you don't need to give it the shape and the smoothness that you want, and then you give it the final finish or the polishing that it needs so that it goes to the market and everybody will want to rush back to get your product. And then this process ensures that surgical instruments are precise, durable, suitable, and for medical use. So when you go through this forging, milling, grinding, and final finish, that is when the final product comes out. Any question?
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Yes, ask. May I know your name, please? So that
Uh,
I can, when I'm addressing your question, I address your name. Yep.
yeah, sorry, your name is Clement.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, should all instruments have this fine, smooth finishing?
Should all instruments have fine and smooth finishing? Is that what it? That's your question, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you see, this is how I always like to teach. I always want to throw the question back to the class and see if somebody has an answer. So the class, we are 30, excluding myself, the director, and Mr. Japan. The rest of us, I see 30 of us on the line. So 27 of us, excluding the question, the person who asked the question. So 26 of us. What should all instruments have smooth and shiny or shiny finish, right? You say?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yes, that's the question. Everybody is free to go.
No.
Who said no?
Abdul.
Oh, your name again, please.
Abdul.
Okay. So we have one no.
Yeah, no. No.
Can you give why?
Can you repeat the question?
The question was, should all instruments have smooth and shiny finish?
And the answer is no, simply because of slippery. Because if it comes in contact with any fluid, it becomes slippery. So it can fall out of your hand easily. If you have a smooth surface.
Mm-hmm. So yes, so the answer will be no, not all. The answer is definitely no. Depending on what the instrument is supposed to perform, it could come rough. Okay, it has the reason why they put it or they manufacture it to have a rough surface is going to perform that function. Okay, so once you step into the department and you begin to handle the instruments, you see that some have smooth finish. Most of them have what? Smooth finish. Others have what? Rough finish. Okay, not all the time. Okay, but whatever it is, if it is the manufacturer is manufacturing it according to its roughness, it will have a rough finish, but it will still go through the process, the 3 steps that we have what given, except that the final finish it will not be smooth, it will be what? Rough. Does that make sense?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, good. All right. Tawfiq, take this one for me.
Surgical instrument manufacturing processes into bracket continue. Modern instrument manufacturing relies heavily on machinery, but many milling and finishing processes still require skilled hand labor. Manufacturers conduct extensive quality checks throughout production to ensure precision and durability.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Tempering and polishing. After assembly, instruments undergo tempering, a final heating process that enhances their strength and durability.
Okay.
Polishing.
All right. So stop there. So tampering and what? Polishing. So there are two things: tampering and then polishing. So tampering, when the final product is made, after you do the forging, you do the milling and then the grinding, okay, to get its shape and according to the smoothness that you want of the external body. This instrument is heated. I was reading one of the materials. It says it's heated up to, I think, 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, okay, and then it is left in a controlled temperature or a controlled environment. Controlled environment means that everything external is set up. It is set. It's intentional. You don't. Nothing can change it. There's somebody who is remote controlling everything. It says maybe instrument will be there in that room when it's tempered. It's heated up to that temperature. It's left. Maybe it is. They say let it stay there for next 30 minutes for maybe at a temperature of maybe 90 degrees. Then after 30 minutes, they reduce the temperature to maybe 75. The next 1 hour, they take it to maybe 30. So somebody is controlling everything to make sure that the instrument will come out correct. So tampering means that heating it and leaving it in the controlled environment after the grinding, the forging, and everything has been done. Now let's look at the polishing part. Yes.
Polishing follows, provide a smooth finish that influences the instrument appearance. Instruments can have a mirror finish into bracket shiny, less prone to staining, or a matte or satin finish into bracket reduces light reflection but may stain more easily.
Okay. So we have satin finish, we have matte finish, we have the mirror finish. Mirror simply means as mirror. You look into the instrument, you can see your beautiful self, your handsome self. You can see it in the mirror or on the instrument because the finish is it looks like a mirror. Okay, and then you have the satin ones. It means that light the satin ones are not so shiny like the mirror finish, and then the satin ones are also there. The matte ones are also there. Okay, they say that they don't reflect the light. Mirror, you always reflect light. Those who the physics students are in the class. My level physics that I did in high school is light reflects, right? So it reflects on the mirror to another angle. But in the case of this instrument, which has a matte finish or a satin finish, they don't reflect light. Okay, they are not shiny, but they do not stain easily. The mirror ones can stain. Right. The next. Okay. So now the final finish. So Tafik, you take this one for me. Then I will take it to another person. All right.
All right.
Sorry. Okay.
Passivation process. Passivation is a crucial step that enhances corrosion resistance. Nitric acid into bracket NNO into bracket HNO3 removes residual iron from the instrument surface. This process forms a coronial oxide into bracket Cr2O3 layer, which protects against rust and strengthens over time.
Okay. Stop there. So passivation process is what they are looking at. The final finish, what they do. So they use what we call nitric acid. All that HN0 subscript 3 is the chemical uh, formula for nitric acid. That's what it is. All right. My electric chemistry say this is probably is hydrogen, nitrogen, and what oxygen is what the 3 is what I'm not too. I can't remember. I did that several years back. Okay, you don't use it, you lose it. That's in my case. So nitric acid is one of the material that they use for finishing the use for the passivation process. Okay, it says it removes residual iron. So when you apply it, it takes the excess iron off the surface of the material. And what happens? And then the process of taking that, it builds a layer called cranium oxide. And that is the cranium oxide is what they give in that into parentheses. So when you apply the nitric acid, it take away the excess iron that is on it. It builds a layer, protective layer over the surface where you have applied this nitric acid, what we call the cranium oxide. Okay, so that is all that is. So we apply nitric acid to the passivation process to get the final product out. Yes. Next point.
The passivation layer can be damaged by improper handling, such as using abrasive cleaners or exposure to saline or non-approved chemicals.
Okay. Okay, good. Hold on. So if the product is completely done, it comes out clean. The nitric acid is done. The cranium oxide layer is fulfilled. If this is supposed to maintain and protect the instrument for its lifetime, if you mishandle it and you do not use the right tools to clean it, you do not use the right chemical to clean it, regardless of its hardened nature, its finishing nature, its protective nature, its resistant nature, you are going to damage the instrument and you cut short the lifespan of the instrument. That is what is basically talking about. So if you use a brush that is not supposed to be used or you use it aggressively, it's going to damage it. If you use a wrong chemical, you're going to damage it. If you soak it in the saline or betadine for a very long time, it's going to damage it. That is what Tofik just read. Yes.
Final inspection and etching. Before an instrument is ready for use, it undergoes comprehensive inspection of ratchet, tips, serration, bus locks, and rolls.
Okay, hold on. So before an instrument is etched, okay, they inspect it. It's lifted or it's whatever the process of inspection, making sure that the teeth are aligned, the ratchets lock in place, the lock box is such that it moves freely, or the box lock moves freely. The serrations are there. So they inspect, there's a thorough inspection of the instrument to make sure that every single part of it functions properly, okay, before they throw it out there in the market. If it doesn't, it's taken out of service. It's refined, or the metals are melted and used to produce something else. Yes, continue. Tawfiq.
Etching,
Uh-huh.
where the company name and catalog number are added using acid chemicals,
All
stamping,
right.
laser marking. The
Okay.
entire
Okay,
manufacturing
hold
process.
on. So etching means that when you produce, you have to give it or let people know that you did something marvelous. So the company will etch, or simply means print. I don't want to use the word print, but that's what it means. So they make sure that they inscribe their names on the instrument, and where it is manufactured, the reference number or the catalog number is what printed on the instrument. That printing process is what we call etching. All right, it's etching. That's what it means. So they use acid chemicals and stamping or laser markings to do that. Okay. Yes. Continue. Take the last one for me.
The entire manufacturing process takes approximately 6 weeks, reflecting the craftsmanship required to produce high-quality surgical instruments.
Okay. So the whole process, forging through grinding and milling to polishing and passivation, it takes approximately 6 weeks. So ask yourself, the millions of instruments that are used for surgeries across the face of the globe, if it takes 6 weeks, it means that they might have a lot of workers who deal with that. Because it will not just be a few people doing or producing or manufacturing this to serve the whole world. There must be a lot of people. That is where the costs come in. That's why it's expensive. People have to draw salaries, people have to draw wages, people have to draw bonuses, people have to draw all kinds of packages. They factor all of that into the pricing of the instrument. That is why it is expensive, as we saw from the beginning. All right, next slide, Director. Director, let me know when we are going to break, okay? Then, okay. Okay, I'll take this one. The next
John,
one.
that will be in 15 minutes.
Okay, good. So let me see if I can finish this slide or take another one before. So classification and overview of surgical instruments. Classification. How do we classify specific functions? Incorrect use can result in patient injury or instrument damage. This is black and white. It can be. There's no explanation to this. You don't use something correctly, you damage it, you harm somebody. All right. For example, using needle holder instead of a pin puller can damage the needle holder. You see, needle and pin. Needle, and then you are using it on a pin. Nah, it won't work. So needle for needle, pin for pin. Pin cutter, pin puller. So yes, so if you use a needle holder on a pin, try to pull a pin out, okay. If you come to the field, you realize that pins are drilled. They use powered equipment to put a pin inside the bone of a human being. So if a powered gun or instrument was connected to electricity, and then they drill inside, and now you are using a needle holder to get it out, you're just going to damage the needle holder. That's simple and short. That's what it is. So now, what is the role of the surgical or central sterile processing technician in this? One, instrument anatomy. You have to understand the instrument, the history behind that instrument, what it is used, what to look for, and all of that. Two, inspect the instrument. Those are the responsibilities as a CS PD technician. You have to know the instrument anatomy, the teeth, the shank, the MOX lock, the ratchets. Okay, you have to know this. It has to come. Once you step in CSPD department for first 3 months, you have to be able to remember this. There's no way you can do. All right, there's nothing about it. It's a rule of thumb. You have to know. If you are not grabbing it, it means that you are not living up to the career you want to be. So inspect, know the anatomy, the various parts of the instrument, and then proper measurement techniques. Some hospitals or facilities have the workstation have a measuring device. Either they have it on the edge of the workstation, or they have a materials that is sitting on it that have rulers on the edge. And if you don't have all of that, if you're not fancy to that extent, it's basically just go to Amazon or Staple and get a ruler, and then put it on each workstation. If you are confused out to the length of the distance, you measure it. You close the lock, the instrument, the ratchet, put the side by side by a ruler, and you are able to tell what it is. Most of the instruments are measured in what? In inches. They are measured in inches. So get a ruler that has the inches side or the centimeter side. All right, good. Let me take one slide before our 50 minutes a bit.
I have a question.
Yes,
Sorry.
good.
With the inspection points, can you give it a little bit of explanation on that? Is it talking about can you give us a little bit of explanation on the inspection points, please?
Yeah, so we'll get to that, but I can help you before we get there, so that when we get there, it will further bring clarity as to what you are looking for.
Okay.
So every instrument and the way it was designed, some of them have a lot of inspection points. Some of them have very few inspection points. If you take, for example, a faucet is to grasp. A faucet will have a plain faucet, and then we have a faucet with teeth. If it is one that has teeth, you have to make sure that there is nothing stuck in the teeth, because because it was used, it could happen that there's something that is stuck there. If you leave it stuck there, it will go to the room, considered what? Contaminated, delay the whole process. If you have to inspect to make sure that the teeth goes into the hole that it's supposed to, which means that you have to check for alignment. Okay, so you look at the teeth, you close it and see whether it actually aligns. You cannot see anything above or beyond. Okay, then the faucet has two parts. So, and the two parts meet at a point. You have to make sure that there are no cracks at the point where it meets. Okay, so you look at that, and then you look to make sure that there are no any degrees at where the doctor will hold. There's a part that the doctor will hold for it to work. So you also have to make sure that there are no dents, there are no cracks, there are no breaks, there are no. It's supposed to be smooth finish. If it's smooth finish, that part must not be rough, so that the doctor does not hurt himself or herself. So these are in abstract form how the inspection is done. That's in the case of a faucet. We have multiple instruments. So when we're going to go case specific or instrument specific or no finish, so they just give us a general class and then they take us through the various parts. So just for a faucet, these are the parts that you're looking for: the tip, where the surgeon will hold, which you call the shaft or the shank, and then the joint, where the two parts of the faucet will meet and is welded together. You have to make sure that it is not cracked. You also have to make sure that that end too does not have any biobedding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So if I understand you correctly, it means as a CSPD technician, you're supposed to know which places you are supposed to look for the debris to clean.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right. Cool.
And
Thank
then
you.
subsequently in the slides that we'll be seeing shortly, you will see the pictures and it will show you. It will definitely show you what to look for. Okay. Then how many more minutes do I have, Director? Sorry.
I think we can take one more slide.
Okay, we can take one more slide before we go. Yes, I have the permission. They go to take one more slide. Yeah, it's a very simple slide. Hemostatic faucet. What did we say we use hemostatic faucet for? I hope somebody is not reading the slide.
To control the flow of blood.
To control the flow of what? Blood. How do they do that? I describe it. Let's see if somebody can remember how it is described. So this hemostatic faucet has a ratchet. Okay, so it's a locking. The ratchet is a locking device. So the doctor opens the device, the faucet, and then closes it, the tip, by holding the tip to the blood vessel, and then the ratchet end, he locks it in place, and then that's it. He doesn't need to do anything. That blood stops flowing, and he has all his attention goes to where he wants to work. He doesn't have to bother himself whether the patient is going to be bleeding to death or not, because the blood is locked. They've locked the place. It's not going to flow. So hemostatic primary function is control blood flow during surgery by clamping. Yes, they use the right word, clamping blood vessels. So that process I'm just trying to describe, lock the ratchet, is what we call clamping. You clamp it, all right? And you leave it there, and you have access to whatever you want to do without any obstruction. Key anatomical features: serrations, para grooves in the jaws of the grip. So a hemostatic faucet has serrations. Serration means they have lines. That is the best way I can describe to you. Or if you open the jaw, they have horizontal lines. These horizontal lines help it to grab whatever they are trying to hold. Okay, the lines there help it to grab the jaws of the instrument to hold it in place. Then you have the ratchet mechanism. The ratchet mechanism locks the handles in place. I didn't even see that. I explained that already. So the ratchet side is at the ring where your finger will go in, and then you hear some noise. That means it locks it in place. Just as when you're closing your door, you put the key in there, you turn, you hear cut, and the door is locked, and then you walk away. You know you're safe. So once the doctor hears that sound from the the ratchet end of the instrument, you know that I'm safe and sound. Then the box lock is very, I don't know why I keep flipping the word. So the box lock is very, very important. That is any instrument that has a box lock. It means that instrument has a hinge. It slides. It has two parts. It opens and closes. That box lock, please always open it and inspect it. Open it in the content for it to soak and break down the fatty issues. Open it to put it through the washer for it to wash. And when it comes, open to make sure that it is clean before you put it in the set to go to the OR. You cannot miss that. It's Central 101. You need that part to survive. So always, any instrument that has hinge, any instrument that has a box lock, you always have to inspect. Open it and see, inspect it, and close, and open, close, and to see whether it's stiff, it's moving freely. It's not supposed to be stiff. It's supposed to move freely, without any obstruction. If you open it, it is stiff, you need to what? Do what we call lubrication. You have to lubricate it. We shall see that down the line. Okay. So then we also look at what? The shanks. The shanks are the elongated one handles. You have to look for them, whether they are cracks, there are any rust on it. If there is rusty, it's not good. If there is a crack, sometimes you see a crack, the instrument, there's a crack on it, but it is not completely off. So don't take advantage. Say, oh, nah, it can go. Don't worry. They just use it. Well, and no, it can break and fall into the system of the patient. And when that happens, they have to do some scanning to be able to see where it is, and all of that are to cause delay the process. And then if they are not able to see it in good time, what happens? The patient is giving extended anesthesia and all of that. Nobody want to go through that experience. If you're the one, you don't want to go through that experience. So don't put somebody through that experience. So once you see a crack, take it out of service and replace. Okay, replace it if you have. If you don't have it, then you have to notify your manager, your supervisor, or whoever is your immediate superior to be aware that there's something that you identified was assembling or putting the tray together and was cracked. You took it out of service so that it can be replaced. Any question? Any question so far? Any contributions from where we started up to now? Ask questions, then before we step out for 50 minutes. Any question? Okay, no questions. So right, we can take the break now. All right. So what we just we saw before we went on break is that's the picture of a hemostatic faucet. The left on your right hand side, it gives you the how to measure it. So you measure it from the tip to this end of the ring. That is how it is measured. That's where you get your length, either in inches or centimeters or millimeters, whatever the manufacturer decide to list as the measuring unit. That is how it is measured. So you don't end where the length is not up to where the ratchet is. So the left hand side picture, which is 10.4, gives you the anatomy of the instrument. So you have the tip we have the jaw, we have the box lock, which I said nobody should miss. You cannot miss inspecting that part. You can't. Then the ratchet, you see the ratchet, that is where it locks in. That is where the clamping is done. Then from the lock box to the ratchet is the shanks. All right. And then beneath the ratchet are the rings. That's where you put in your fingers and then you close it. The ratchet have serrations. You lock it in. Okay. The teeth will close. The tip will close. So if you open this, it has what? Serration. So you have the tip, the jaw, the box lock. Please, I'm laying emphasis on the box lock because it will be so embarrassing that after this course, you get a job and your manager will call you to his office or her office and say, hey, your tray went to the room and there was blood in your instrument, one of your instruments at the lock box, the box lock. It will be so embarrassing because I have mentioned it about 5 to 10 times already. You can't miss that. Okay, and trust me, whenever your manager calls you to the office, is talking about it, he has pictures because they always take pictures. They send us the pictures and the show as evidence. So that's how it is. So box lock cannot be missed. Ratchet, you cannot miss that. The shanks is where we say look for cracks. Look for cracks. So the ratchet, sometimes you test the ratchet to see if it works properly. When you lock in place, you hit the instrument on the hard surface and see whether the ratchet will come out. If it comes out, it means that it's not working properly. If it does not come out, it means it works properly. All right? That's next slide, please. Yeah, so if you look on this chart, it's just telling us the various sizes that the manufacturer of this hemostatic faucet has giving us. And then you have full serration, means that the whole of the jaw has those horizontal lines or grooves. And then we have partial serration. Partial serration means that the jaw is not fully serrated. That's what it means. Okay, so we have 3.5 inches, we have 5 inches, 5.5 inches, partial serrated, and we have 6.25 inches fully and serrated, and we have so if you look on your picture, figure 10.7, figure 10.7, you will notice that the hemostat on your left hand side is shorter than the hemostat on your right. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes, figure 10.7. So the instrument on your left hand side is also called hemostat, but the dimension is smaller, is different from the one on the right. The one on the left is 3.5 inches. And that's what we call the Hartmann hemostatic faucet. Hartmann. And then the one on the right is the regular size, which is the 5 inches. Okay. The serration, you will not see it unless you open to see the full jaw. That is when you can tell whether it is fully serrated or is partially serrated. So the Hartmann is always the 3.5 mosquito. Some people. So the one on the right is the one we normally call, you hear mosquito. If you are in central sterile processing, you hear mosquito. Is one of the instruments you hear every day. Mosquito. Mosquito is supposed to be an animal, or an insect, but it's in our department is a instrument. Next slide. All right. Faucet variations. So faucet variations we have. So we saw the hemostatic one, and then under the hemostatic or the mosquito, we have the Hartmann, and then the regular mosquito or regular hemostatic, which is always 5 inches. Now we have the cryo hemostatic faucet. The feature is that it is fully serrated along the jaws. So the jaws are fully serrated for what? Crown hemostatic what? Faucet. Crowns are a little bit longer than mosquitoes. Okay, the jaws are a little bit broader than the mosquitoes or the hemostatic what? Faucet. So the crowns are 6 inches, 1/4 inch. Those are the dimensions that I can remember on top of my head of crowns. Then we have the Kelly. You remember I told you the instrument called Kelly. So maybe the manufacturer was his name was Kelly. Maybe it was named after him. So we have the Kelly hemostat. It's partially what? Serrated. So the jaw is not fully serrated. If you open a Kelly, when you get to the department or you start working, you open Kelly from the tip of the jaw. When you are getting closer to the box lock, the serration will end before you get to the box lock. But with the crown, the serration goes all the way to the box lock. All right? And the one that does not go, we call it partially serrated. All right? So Kelly is partially serrated. Then we have the Rochester Rochester Carmalt. It's a form of Kelly, but unlike Kelly, which the serration goes horizontal, this Kelly, the serration goes longitudinal or vertical. Simply put, it goes vertical. All right. So horizontal is the normal way serrations are done, but in this particular Kelly, the serration goes vertical. That's why it says there, recognized by longitudinal serration. Longitudinal serration. I can't even get to see that word right. So ideal for grasping large tissue areas. So it's a Kelly, but it has a special name because of the serration nature of it. The serrations are done vertical. They're not horizontal across the jaw. They're done vertical along the jaw. Right. Then we have the Coca faucet. Rochester Oshner. That is its technical name. But when you come to the department, we call it Coca. We have technicians who have maybe 4 or 5 years experience. You mentioned this, they don't know that. All that they know is Coca. That's it. All right. So some can sheet will say Coca / then Rochester Oshner. All right. Features. It has a teeth. Coca always has a teeth. You cannot call Coca something Coca when it doesn't have a teeth. It will have a different name. All right. And then the teeth is 1/2. 1/2 means that on one end of the jaw, you have 2 points and 2 pointed teeth, and with a space in between. So, and then one end will have 1 point. So that one end that has 1 point, when you close the instrument to try to check for alignment, the one end point or teeth will have to fall in the space between the 2 ends on the other side of the jaw, the instrument. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, great. So you have 1/2 teeth for additional grip. So the teeth make it easier or further strengthen its grip on any tissue that it is supposed to grab. All right. It says classification system helps CSPD or CS technicians correctly identify and handle instrument for proper sization and set assembly. Sization, I will say, is not so much, but the description or the classification help you to be able to put the set together, put the trays together. Very, very important. If you don't know your instruments, you will struggle. So once you go when you begin to learn, get your hands on training, please learn as fast as possible. If you begin to get a practical lesson, please, where you need to even draw it, draw it. Okay, where you need to take pictures, take pictures, so that it will sink in your mind. Because you will, you if you're not privileged to work in a facility where they have systems that are well developed, where the names matches the right pictures, you might put something wrong in the tray because the picture that was uploaded is wrong. So when you get to the department or you get to the floor, please try to learn the instrument like you are crazy. Let me put it that way. Like you are out of your mind. You'll be on the train and then you'll be reciting the instrument and describing them in your mental faculty. All right, just for you to be able to function well, because you need it. Where you don't have if you go to a hospital where the pictures are not uploaded, what do? You have to learn them or assemble the tray or the set using the features that you have received whilst you were doing your 400 hours. Next slide, Director. Surgical instrumentation, we are continuing with, so we're looking at the needle holders. As usual, needle holders, I said, the main function is to suture the needle, the enclosed surgical site. You suture to close, okay? Needle holders are designed to drive sutures. Wound closure for what? Wound closure. So when there's an opening, they use the needle holder to grab the suture and then close the place. All right. Description of what or the features that you should be looking for a needle holder are: inspecting areas is the jaws. Check jaws for what? Tread wear. Okay. Tread wear means that the threading that is there that is allow the needle to hold the suture in place, because it's used regularly and then pressure is applied, it wears and tears. Okay, so that thread, you have to look for it. If the thread is gone, it means that it will not be able to grab the suture properly. So you look for it at the jaws. Then you also examine the cracks and biobedding buildup. Where are you going to check for the biobedding buildup? Anybody with any idea? Where are you going to check for the biobedding buildup? Where are you going to check for the biobedding buildup?
The box lock.
The box lock. You can't miss that. The box lock, the ratchet ends, you have to look for biobedding buildup. And that is what the next point says. Inspect box lock and what? Ratchet mechanisms for proper functioning. So how do you test that? So like I said, lock the box lock, the ratchet, hit it on a hard surface. If it comes out, it's not working. Period. Okay? If it doesn't come out, it's working perfectly. So check for
Question.
biobedding. Yes.
You said hit the instrument. This is like my first week. So you said hit the instrument on a hard surface. How do you do that without damaging?
No. You know, okay, sorry, I used the word hit it. Drop it on a high surface. On this hard surface. I use the wrong term, wrong word. So not hit it, drop it. Okay, you drop it on the surface of your workstation. If it comes apart, it's not working. If it doesn't come apart, it's functioning. Does that take away that your fear now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you for drawing my attention, because I think I was still using the word hit it. All right, so it's drop it. Just you don't just not at the don't give it a higher altitude. Just maybe at your chest level, drop it. If you are standing, if you are sitting, don't maybe still at chest level, then drop it and then see if it will open up. If it doesn't open, it means the lock box is good or the ratchet is working perfectly. All right. Now, types of needle holders that we have. We have Mayor Hager needle holder, and we have the Crywood. But before we look at that, it says stainless steel jaws. needle holders have two types of what? Jaws. The stainless steel means that the whole material is made of stainless steel, which we saw as for either 400 series. That's not either. It's 400 series that they use to make the needle holders, because that's the one that is hard so that it can last long. So where the needle holder is made out of stainless steel material, once there is wear and tear at the jaws, it means the needle holder needs to be replaced. Period. So it says stainless steel jaws available in smooth or serrated. So they have the smooth ones, they have the serrated one. So the smooth ones, depending on the surgery preference, the doctor's preference, you can say I want a smooth one, and then some people will say I want serrated one. That is the threading. Then it says cannot be replaced or cannot be repaired or replaced after wear. So, like I explained, if it was worn out, you can't replace it. You just throw the instrument away and then put a new one there. All right. If you have the smooth one, yes, it cannot. It's only the doctor is the doctor who will tag it. Most of the time, the doctor tags the smooth ones and say, "Hey, it's not working. It's not functioning for me anymore." So that one, you take it out and you look for a new smooth one. If the one that is tagged for replacement or repair is a smooth one, don't go and put one with thread or serrated. It means you have put a wrong instrument in there. Then the last point under that, it says they normally last 1 to 2 years. They normally last 1 to 2 years. So the lifespan of most of these needle holders is 1 to 2 years. You have to replace them. Next slide. All right.
I have a question.
Good. Go ahead.
This 1 to 2 years, does it depend on the number of surgeries used for, or like 2 years has to be replaced?
Okay, so this is averaging. You're just assuming that if it is used aggressively, that is how it will last. If it is not used aggressively and it is properly maintained, then it can go beyond 2 years. So we are saying, looking at the average here, some will last less than 1 year. You have to replace because the doctor or the surgeons were using it aggressively, or the instruments were being turned over repeatedly, or they were flipping it, reprocessing it multiple times, and it was going to OR and coming out. So the wear and tear was faster. So in that case, it will not even get to 2 years, and then you have to replace. How do you replace? Either the doctor will signal by tagging it in the OR that it is not meeting its functionality. So they put a repair tag on it. So it comes to decontent, repair tag on it is decontaminated, and it comes to the clean side. You are putting the sets together, you see the repair tag on it, you take it out and replace it. That is one option. The second option is that you as a tech, when putting sets together or instruments together, assembly, you have to inspect the jaw of the needle holder. If you inspect and you realize that the thread is worn out, you don't have to seek the doctor's opinion to replace it. You will take it out and go to your instrument wall or go to your instrument drawer where you have extra instruments that everybody will get to know when you start doing this job. Then you go in and take the right needle holder and replace it. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, sure.
All right, good. Now, we talked about the needle holders being made from stainless steel, okay? And then we have those that are made from tungsten, those that are made with tungsten carbide jaws. Tungsten carbide jaws. Tungsten carbide jaw. I mentioned it 3 times. I'm mentioning it so because of something. Whenever you see tungsten carbide, any instrument that has tungsten carbide against it or with its name, it means the rings are golden. You can't miss that. I think when I was taking the test, it was part of the question, one of the questions that came. I don't know what is coming this time because they have reviewed, they have revised the exams multiple times. So I can't promise you that. But be on the lookout for that. Okay. So instrument, any needle holder that has a tungsten carbide jaw has a golden ring. Not any instrument at all. That is the tip has a tungsten carbide, the handle will be golden. What do we see here? With the tungsten carbide jaw of a needle holder, if the thread is worn out, it can be what? Replaced. So you take it to the repair shop and then they replace it, the jaw. Those ones are replaceable. But with the stainless steel, they are not what? Replaceable. So one, golden rings is on the handles, which I mentioned. Durable, better needle, great, and replaceable. You can replace the jaws. Like I said, you can replace the jaw. Now, when we go down, maybe the next slide we see the jaws, and if the picture is well taken, I'll be able to show you where the replacement will take place. It's the most preferred by a lot of surgeons. You will see it in your set when you begin to work on them. You will see it a lot of the time. All right. Both scissors have it. Needle holders will have it. Some instruments also have it. Okay. So remember, put it, please. If you have missed, if you have not heard anything from me today in this 2-hour or to 3-hour lesson that we're going to have, remember that I said tungsten carbide means it has golden rings. Does that make sense? Everybody can remember that, right? So
Yes.
good. Then the next one says common needle holder designs are two: Mayor Hager and Crywood. They are all the same needle holders. The difference is that the jaws are different. One has a narrow jaw, one has a broader jaw. Mayor Hager has a broader jaw. Crywood has a narrow jaw. Period. That's it. That's the difference. They can, in sense of length, they can have the same length. They can have the tungsten carbide description, or they can be stainless steel. But the only thing that differentiates them is their jaw. Broader jaw, Mayor Hager. Narrow jaw, Crywood. Next slide. So look at them. Look at so the page. Figure 10.8 is a Kelly. You see that the serration doesn't go all the way to the end. That is partial. And then the cross serration, it goes all per this picture we are seeing. Now let's go and look at 10.9 and 10.10. All right. So again, this is which kind of needle holder is material is made of this needle holder? Which material is made of this needle holder?
Good.
Tungsten carbide.
Tungsten carbide on it.
Yes. So this needle holder has a tungsten carbide on it. Is it replaceable or is thrown away when it is worn out?
Replaceable.
Replaceable. And is that the most preferred by surgeons?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you all see lock box lock?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to do in the box lock?
To always check.
Check for biobeddings.
Check for biobedding. Okay. Check for biobedding in the box lock. Check for biobedding in the and the ratchet, and then practice see whether the ratchet is functioning by dropping it on the on your workstation to see if it will open. Okay. And as usual, like the hemostatic concept measurement, you close You clamp the ratchet and then you measure from the tip to the ring. That is how you measure. So this one also has tip. It has the jaw and the box lock. It has the neck. The neck. You see, everybody see the neck?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're seeing it where if you zoom it properly, you see that at the jaw to the neck, you see some dark, there's a part that is a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the one that is replaceable. That is the threading. So they take that dark part and then they put whatever adhesive this material, then they put a new one there, and then the instrument is back to its original state. Okay, yeah. So that is the replacement we were talking about. Next slide, director. I think I might. Is Obin there? Obin? Okay, so let me take Obin. If you are hearing me, get ready. Let me take this slide, and then I will invite you to help me out. It's a tissue faucet. Tissue faucet. Tissue faucet. See, they are tweezers style instrument used to grasp and manipulate tissue. So tissue faucets are tweezer style instruments. They are designed in the form of a tweezer shape, used to grasp and manipulate. Okay. Tissue faucets have teeth, multiple teeth. Okay, that we'll be looking at. Common of the teeth that you can find will be 1 by 2, meaning that one jaw has 2 pointed parts, and then one has 1. So if you align it, the one part will have to fit into the space between the 2 parts. Then we have 2 by 3, meaning that one part has 2 points, the other part has 3. And 3, the part that has 3 will have 2 spaces so that the 2 can fit. So for the faucets, you always have to check for alignment to see that the tip aligns. So that once it's aligned, it means that the doctor will be able to use it. So we have different 1 by 2, 2 by 3, 3 by 4. Always one part is one less than the other. So if it is 1, the other side has to be 2. If it is one side is 2, the other side has to be 3. If one side is 3, the other side has to be 4. So that's how it goes. All right. And then some of them have serrations. They have serrations underneath. I wouldn't want to give you the name for it. When you get to the first, you know what that one is called. Other names of tissue faucet are called rat faucet, rat tooth faucet, rat tooth faucet. Have you seen? How many of you are privileged to see a rat before? Shania, have you seen a rat before?
Yes.
Okay. Can you relate the teeth of a rat to this that we are describing?
You said to describe a rat?
No, I said, can you relate the teeth of a rat to this instrument we are talking about? Either 2 by 4, 2 by 3, 1 by 2, 3 by 4 thing?
Oh, the size?
No, the teeth of a rat. Have you seen the teeth of a rat before?
No.
No. All right. Yeah. So those of us who are privileged to see that.
Is that a privilege?
Yeah. You relate, you understand it easily. That's what I mean. So that if you go and they say, rat tooth faucet, are you going to be looking for a physical rat? No. But because you have seen how the shape of rat teeth are, or how it is configured, or how God has given that shape, you can relate that to say, okay, it has to be 2x3 or 1x2. Anything that has 1x2, 2x3, 3x4, that is a tooth rat tooth faucet. So the tissue faucet is also called rat tooth faucet. That's what we are all trying to establish. Okay, I brought this rat business in there for people who are born in from very, very remote areas like my type. Okay, where you see rats everywhere every day. Okay, we also have the brown tissue or brown faucets. The brown faucets. This also classified under tissue faucet because the brown faucet have a lot of what teeth on the jaws or on the sides. A lot of them. When you get it there, you see it, and then you have the pickups. The pickups are we call them Addison faucets. Addison faucets. It's also the same as pickup. It's a small version. Their teeth, you can't actually see the teeth unless you feel it. You feel it with your finger. You touch the teeth, then you probably realize that it has teeth. Those ones you can hardly see. You have to feel it to know that it has teeth. So you inspect that. So don't be deceived that if you go, every Addison has teeth. No, you have to feel it to know that this one has teeth. It doesn't have teeth. Some you can see it right away. Some you cannot unless you feel it. We have the ones with that. Sometimes the description say fine Addison with teeth. That means that the teeth is such that you can only see it under some magnifier. Other than that, you can't see it with your naked eye. All right. So inspect the teeth because the teeth could be harboring bioburden. The teeth could be harboring bioburden. If you eat food, you chew meat, you get some steak, and you do justice to the steak. Sometimes you gotta get toothpicks to take the meat that is stuck in between your gums, right? This one everybody can relate. Nobody can tell me unless the vegetarians on this platform. All right. So even the vegetarians, when you eat the vegetables, sometimes you get them stuck in between your gums or there. So you take your toothpick and pick them out. So the same way tissue faucet, they come with tissue stuck in there. You have to inspect and get those things out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So and then it says examine ends and then shanks for cracks and what damage. The end is where the joint. We'll see the picture shortly. And then the shafts or the shanks are where the end, the joint part to the tip, where the doctor can hold or the surgeon can hold to manipulate. Next slide. Let's see if we give us the picture. Yeah, there we go. So that is a forceps. This is what we call forceps. So in this particular picture, it is not a tooth or tissue forceps. It is a plain or dressing forceps because it has no teeth. If you zoom it, I don't see any teeth. Is anybody seeing any teeth on this one? Okay.
No.
No teeth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have, it looks like it's the same thing that we just saw. The common configurations are 2x1, 2x3, sorry, 1x2, 2x3, 3x4, and the rest going. So you always have to check the teeth for biobedding. You really have to check the teeth to see the alignment is very, very, very important. Okay, alignment is very important. You can't miss that. So if it comes to an instrument that has a box lock, you always have to check that place to make sure that it freely moves and it's not stiff. And you also have to check their place for biobedding. In the case of the forceps, you have to check the tip and then the end for cracks and then biobedding. Next slide. Any question? If anybody has question, ask before we go deep, and then you bring it back. So dressing faucet. So dressing faucet, unlike tooth faucet or tissue faucet, it does not have a teeth. It has what? Serrations instead. It has serrations, the horizontal lines that we saw. when we're looking at the either Kelly or the hemostatic clamp or crab. All right, it has serrations, and then the serrations. This is used to grasp and manipulate tissue. Okay, all right. It's also used that. Okay. So the common names. So either you say tissue or you say plain faucet or smooth faucets. Okay. So you go to a play, you are working in a department and say, hey, Jawara, somebody mentioned Jawara, do you have an extra plain faucet? No, that's what he's talking about. Do you see any plain faucet somewhere? That's what he's talking about. All right. So we always ask friends if by mistake some instrument gets into their trays that they are putting together, we ask for it and they give it back to us and then we put it back into the tray. So they have that. So they either smooth faucet or plain faucet. Or some people call it, or some places they call it dressing faucet, like the heading. So dressing faucet is the same as plain faucet, is the same as smooth faucet. Then tissue faucet is the same as faucet with teeth. You get that? All right. So again, that one to check for alignment. Even though it has not got teeth, it got serrations. So check for alignment, check for biobedding at the serrations, check for cracks at the end.
He's like, well, we can't play like this. But
check for cracks at the end, and then look for any cracks on the shanks. All right. Is Obi still on this line? What's the name? Let me see. I had Collins Obi. Are you there?
He sent a message on the group on the chat.
Oh, okay. I can't. All right. So he's in a place he cannot have, right? Let me see if I can get somebody else to somebody who has not spoken, so that you help me. Gladys, are you there? Gladys. Oh, Gladys. Dorcas.
Yeah, you want me to read that for you?
All right, who's that?
This Clement.
Okay, go ahead.
Dressing faucets.
No. Let's go to the next slide. We done with this one. That give me the next slide so that you take that one. Oh, okay. So you just hold your piece. Let me take this one when there is reading. So again, measuring, it has to be from the tip to the joint, to the end. That's how we measure it. So you can have 12 inches. That is the length of a ruler, regular ruler. You can have 6 inches. You can have 8, 7, 9. It have various dimensions. So always be on the lookout. So points of what? Inspection. The tip, the shafts, or the handles, and then the one where the end, where the joint. That is, you check for cracks and biobedding. All right. You see, if you look at the figure, all of them, figures 10.14, 10.12, 13, and then 15. All of them at the end, where the joint. You see the inscription. You see the black stuff there. That is the etching we're talking about. Where this will tell you the name, the company where it was made, the catalog number. That's where you find out. Yeah, where the cursor is. Yes, director. Thank you. So now every instrument you will have this. Some of them they are placed where the box lock is. Some of them they are placed where the shaft or the shaft is. That's where they are placed. But in this particular one, it is placed or the etching was done at the end. All right. So these are things that you should always remember. Faucet, tip, and end. You have to look for biobedding and cracks. Okay. Yes. My reader, help me now. Somebody volunteered to read. I forgot your name. That's why I didn't. Okay.
Let me help out.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Retractors are used to hold tissues aside for better surgical site exposure. Types of retractors. Handheld retractor require manual operation. 2. Self-retaining retractors have a mechanical action to hold tissues open. Example, weight liner, Gulpy, Beckman, Addison.
Okay, good. Stay there. All right. So retractors, to retract means to pull away. Okay. So they use the retractors to pull away tissues to expose surgical sites or surgical field that they are working on. So retractors are basically to take away whatever is obstructing their view so that they can see the space where or the tissue or the organ on which they are working. All right. Now, two of them is what we have: handheld or self-retaining. Handheld means that the surgeon or the doctor is the one manipulating it. Okay, he does he pulls it, and then is the tissues, the organs, the tissues are taken away so that he can get a space. Whenever he needs it, he pulls it again, and then he works it. He uses the hand. With the self-retaining retractor, it has a device. It has a mechanism. This instrument has a mechanism on it such that you retract and it stays there. All right. You open it, it pulls the tissues away, leave it open, it stays there until you want it to close, then you pull the mechanism again and it will close. That's why we call it self-retaining retractor. So we have the handheld, which are manually manipulated by the surgeon, and we have the self-retaining retractor. Yes, the surgeon will open the retractor to the length or distance that he wants, and then he doesn't have to do anything anymore. He just leaves it there, and then the work will continue. The surgery continues, and then the instrument will stay there till the whole process is over. Okay, so if you are working on instrument like that, you have to make sure that this instrument retains, it stays if you open it. If you open and it comes back on its own, it means it is not good. That is how you test it. So if you open, it has to stay. If it comes back, if you open and you lock it, it has to stay. If you open and you don't lock it, yes, it definitely has to come back. But if you open and you lock it, it has to stay there and stay there for good. All right. So we have, and then examples of those self-retaining retractors are Whitlander, Gilpey, or Beckman Addison. Beckman Addison. All right. Again, things have changed. I can't remember, but I know there was a question on this. Say, which of these is an example of a self-retaining retractor? And the answer was Whitlander. I still remember that 30 years ago. All right. Still remember this very question. So be on the lookout for that. It's not guaranteed because things have changed. So yes, we'll continue with the reading.
Okay. Inspection points. Ensure blade edges are smooth and free from burrs. Check mechanical component in self-retaining retractors. Example, springs and ratchets.
Okay, good. So you have to check the blades. So this, for a retractor, it has a blade, which we see here. In this one, this is a handheld retractor. This is, what do you call it? Richardson retractor. So it has a loop. You can hold. You see that there are dents around the loop. That's where the fingers will hold it. Okay. So you check the blades. With ladder, the blades are different. The Beckman Addison, the blades are different. Gilpey has points. Gilpey has points. Is sharp points. Okay, but all these three, Wendlander, Gilpey, Beckman retractor, has one thing in common. That is the retaining mechanism. You have to check it. You have to check biobedding over there. You have to check cracks, the spring, and the retaining mechanism. The ratchet, whether it locks it in place. If it doesn't lock it in place, you have to take it out of service and replace it with a new one. All right. So on figure 10.18, you see the loop handle. This is Richardson retractor. Richardson retractor. So from the blade is all the way at the top. The blade is what they use to pull the tissue to make space for the doctor to view whatever he's working on. Then from the blade all the way to where we have the rings is the what? The shank. And then the loop handle. Some have solid but hollow handle. We'll see that maybe as we go along. Next slide, director. My friend, can you help me one more slide before I let you go?
Okay.
Okay.
Scissors.
Yeah, take this one.
Scissors are used for cutting tissues, sutures, and other materials. Common blade designs: tungsten, carbide blade, gold ring handle, harder stay sharp longer. Serrated blade prevent tissue slippage during cutting. Microgrind supercut blade, black ring handles. One blade is knife sharpened for a slicing action, while the other provide a guillotin effect.
Good. Stop there. So scissors. Everybody knows that a scissor is for cutting. So you can't miss that. So scissors is for cutting. But what kinds of scissors do we have? We have tungsten carbide scissors. Means that the handles are golden. It is hard, made of what? 400 stainless steel material. All right. But the handles are what? Golden. It hard, it lasts longer. Okay. Serrated blades means that one blade has serrations and then the other one is what? Sharpened. That's what that means. Okay. That's what it means. Serrated what? Blades. Prevent tissue, like a red, tissue spillage during what? Cutting. Then another interesting point one I want you to note is the third one. The macrogrind / super cut blades. Super cut blades. Macrogrind or super cut blade. Macrogrind or super cut blade. I mentioned about 3 times already. I know why I'm saying that. If one thing that you can use to identify macrogrind or super cut scissors is it has black handle. Period. Any scissors that has black handle in CSPD is a supercut. Very, very sharp. It's sharper than all the other scissors you can find. All right? Okay. So remember that tungsten carbide, gold handle, supercut, black handle. I hope everybody can remember that. Okay. Yeah, take the next points for us, and then we go to the next slide. Yep.
Popular surgical scissors: Mayer scissors, beveled blade for general cutting. Mayer Noble scissors, no bevel, used for fine tissue cutting.
Okay.
Metazibomb scissors, long shank to blade ratio, ideal for delicate dissection.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you so much. So we have basically from this material, we have 3 types of scissors, but we have more than that. When you get to the field, you realize that we have more scissors than that. So Mayer scissors, then Mayer Noble scissors. Some places they call it suture scissors. Some places they call it nest. If you hear nest, can I have a nest? It's not, they are calling the human being nest, they are calling an instrument. Okay, it's super sharp too. That's why they say it's what used for finer tissue cutting. And then we have the Metzimbom scissors. Metzimbom scissors. The Metzimbom scissors is the one you see in the picture. The one you see in the picture on the slide is Metzimbom scissors. It's narrow. The blades are not broad. The major the blades are broad. All right. Next slide. So you see the difference now. You will notice that the picture on your right, because on your right is major scissors, gold handle. So this is tungsten carbide material, or with a tungsten carbide. It means that the blades can be replaced when they are worn out. So you are going to test this to see if it cuts, is sharp. Check for biobedding in the box lock. Check to make that the screw is not loose and it is not stiff when you are cutting. So you see that this is the right hand side picture. 10.23 is major scissors and 10.21 is Metz scissors. All right. This Metz scissors is just made up of a finish called matte finish. We saw it. We saw mirror finish, matte, and satin. Remember that? Yeah. So this one is made up of matte finish. Yeah. Next slide. So with continuation of scissors, verify blade sharpening. So we see shortly the materials you can use to test whether your scissors cut or your scissors is sharp. We'll see that shortly. Then I talked about it. Ratchet. Unfortunately, it's not common to see a scissors with a ratchet. It's not common. There are some, but it's not common. I probably would say that in my lifetime as CSPD tech, I probably have seen something like that maybe once. It's not common. Scissors don't have ratchets because you're just supposed to cut. You don't use to grab, you don't use to clamp anything. You just cut and go. So ratchet. So what you need to check for or ensure functions well is the hinges. The hinges, which is the screw that holds the two blades together. Okay, make sure it's not loose. Then check for alignment. One blade should not be cutting the other. Then it is not properly aligned. So take that instrument out of service. Next slide. Any question before we go to another device? Any question? Somebody ask question, ask now before we take we look at suction devices. I'll take this one. Let me see if I get a name of somebody to prepare the person down. Oh, Bob Santos, are you there?
Serious, I'm here.
Okay, so you hold on. When I finish my own, then you help me for the next one. Did you read any slide today?
No, this would be my first.
Oh, okay, good, awesome. So when I'm done with this one, then you take the next one. Okay. So suction devices. That is what you see there. This is called Frazier suction. Frazier suction. They have different sizes. Have 6 French, 5 French, 3 French, 7 French, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've not seen anything past 12. No, I've not seen anything past 12. Yeah, 12 is the highest I've seen. So yeah, we'll get to all those French thing. Okay, surgical section instrument remove blood and fluid from surgical site or field. We have seen that from the beginning. So common ones we have is Baron suction tube.
and then Frazier section 1, 2. The barons are ENT related. They are much smaller in size. The picture was not here, captured here, but when you get to the department or you begin to work, you begin to see them. Every section will come from the manufacturer with a stylet. It comes with a cleaning of a device that is embedded in the channel. It is not used for cleaning. So don't be tempted to use the stylet in decontent for cleaning. The function of the stylet is to unclog anything during the procedure in the room. So what is used for cleaning suctions? Who can remember what is used for cleaning suctions? Oh, my class is dead. Class, come alive. What is used for cleaning suctions?
Brushes.
Brushes. Thank you, my brother. Brushes. So you use the appropriate brush. That was last week. Mr. Ejapon took us through those appropriate brush that you have to use. You look at the channel, and then you select the appropriate brush. The brush must decide that it will touch all the surfaces in the channel. If it is too small, it won't clean. If it is too big, it won't fit. So it has to be the appropriate one. So we have that. So very, very important. So the stylet, remember the stylet is to unclog any tissues or thing that is in the operating room while the surgeon is working, and he wants to use the same thing, they unclog it. But the stylet is not used for cleaning. All right. The next one, it says important notes. The stylet should not, okay, I've already made mention of that. Cleaning, use the appropriate brush. The brush is what we use. You have to soak it for the enzymatic detergent to break the tissues. Then you brush it and then you flash. If necessary, you sonic it. All of this were taken care of by Mr. Japon. What do you do to make sure that this stylet works? You check for dents or cracks in the shaft. So you look at figure 10.25. Is it 10? Yeah, 25. So the stylet is at the bottom there. The suction control hole is where the thumb I don't know how to describe that for you to get it, but I think everybody sees it. The shaft is from the tip all the way to where where the suction control hole is, and then the tip. So you always have to check the tip to make that there are no dents or cracks in there. Then also check where the hole is to make sure that you are not seeing any cracks. Please, the OR will always, sometimes these sections come with some sticky substances on them. Okay? The surgeon will use a sticky substance to close the hole so that he will not have to use his thumb for that, so that he will get efficient work done. When it comes back, it is supposed to be removed by the person at decontent so that it will soak and then wash, and so that all those sticky substances will go. But if you have an inefficient technician, a technician who is not responsible, he will let this suction go through the washer without taking the sticky substances. And what happens because the washer has a cycle called thermal cycle, which the temperature is sometimes 270 degrees. It will further make it difficult for this sticky substance to be taken out. So what happens is that it gets your workstation, you want to put it together, you see the sticky substance is there, you take it, it's not getting out. So you have to look for a new one. If you cannot find a new one, you have to try as much as possible to take the sticky substance out and then put the tray together and pray that the next doctor that will use the tray does not complain that it has sticky substances. All right. So look out for sticky substances on that suction control hole. Next slide. All right, my brother, help me out now.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Rongeurs.
Rongeurs cut and remove bone and soft tissue. Types of rongeurs: single action rongeurs, standard design for bone cutting. Double action rongeurs requires less hand strength, ideal for stronger cutting force.
Okay, hold on there. So rongeurs are used to cut and remove bone or tissue. Okay, that's their function. The tip is sharp and they have some scoops in there, something like a spoon. That's what they use to cut. Very sharp. Don't play around it. Okay, very sharp. And then we have two of them: single action and double action. The one you see in the picture is single action. The picture one you see 10.27 is single action. The double action, we'll probably see it in the next slide. It has 2 hinges. The pressure you mount on the single action, to be able to cut or bite is higher than the amount of energy you exert on the double action. Okay, so because it has 2 mechanisms that will help you, so you don't put so much energy on the double action, but for single action, you have to put a lot of energy to get it to bite the bone or chop tissue away. Yeah, continue.
Kerrison or laminectomy rongeurs.
Good.
Used in spinal surgery to remove discs and lamina.
All right. So unfortunately, nobody should ask me what is disc or lamina, because I didn't go to medical school. So, but I can tell you for a fact that keratins or laminectomy rongeurs are used for spine surgeries. But that is not to say that if you are doing a tray and you can see a keratin in an orthopedic tray, you can see a keratin in ENT tray, you can see a keratin in what? Chest tray or heart tray. It's all because the doctor is asking for it. He is the one who's going to use it. So you don't determine what goes in what doesn't go in what. So but most of the time, keratins and laminectomy rongeurs are used in spine surgery. And everybody sitting in this class has a spine. Make sure that you don't do anything to damage your spine. Yeah, continue, please.
Comes in different bite angles. Example, 90-degree up bite.
Good. So it comes in different angles. So we have 90 degrees up bite, we have 90 degrees down bite, we have 70 degrees up bite, we have 70 degrees down bite. So 1, the degrees are different. 2, the bites are different. Either it's a down bite or it's a up bite. We see the pictures shortly. And the angle is different. Or again, the choice of the surgeon. You don't control that. Yours is to follow what your computer is saying. If it's up bite, make sure it's the up bite you're not putting down bite. Yeah, continue, bro.
Inspection points. Check jaw edges for dents or damage.
Okay.
Ensure smooth opening and closing action. Verify ratchet and spring mechanisms.
We have at this point we have said it already. Next slide. Data, next slide, please. Good. So the figure on your left is the double action rongeur. You see that? You see that it has 2 or even multiple hinges. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to all of those hinges help to lessen the amount of energy you have to put on it to get it to bite the bone or tissue. Okay, and you have to inspect all of these. Double action means that more work, more inspection. You check to make sure all these screws are not loose, the mechanisms are in place, the jaw is sharp. By testing it shortly, we'll see that. And then the figure on your right is the lumpectomy rongeur. You see that it's like a gun? Yes. Again, you have to check check the tip. You see the tip? This is definitely, this is not can somebody tell me, can somebody confirm whether this is a 90 degrees angle? No, this is not a 90 degrees angle. This is probably maybe a 70 degrees angle. 90 degrees would have been straight, perpendicular. All right. So check, you see that hole there, you got to check for biobedding. Check biobedding. Check for cracks where the mechanisms are. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. All right. Let me take this one. Once I see. Let me look. Let me look for my next helper, and before I take this one. Dawood, are you there? All right, let me go. Let me check my
Dawood is
okay.
here.
Dawood, did you read any slide for me today?
I didn't read any slide.
Okay, good. So after this one, you take the next one for me, okay? So
okay.
Vaginal speculums. Vaginal speculums. So these are speculums are form of a retractor is used to open or to expose the vagina for some examination, some surgery, or whatever. Okay, it means that this instrument is basically or most of the time used on the female. All right, so used to expose the vaginal cavity. All right, it's used to expose the vaginal cavity. We have two of them. Graves speculum, which is broad or wider, and then we have Peterson speculum. Peterson speculum. Okay, that one, the blade is what? Narrow. So depending on the cavity or the vaginal cavity, they decide which one to use. That is the job of the doctor, not you. But you have to look out for what the description says and then put in that particular speculum in there. What are we supposed to look for? This speculum has some mechanism or manipulative device. This is also another self-retaining retractor of a sort. When you open, you screw up and open, it has to stay there till the surgeon is done. If the surgeon wants to further open it, he will open it by screwing. There's a screw that we'll see shortly in the picture. By opening it, you close it, you screw it, you open, you want to close it, you want to reduce the opening, you unscrew, and then the blade falls back, and then the exposure narrows. So be on the lookout. What are we supposed to look at? If you look at figure 1023, is it 1023? Yeah, 33, sorry. 1033, it is the figure on the speculum on your left is the Graves. Is the Graves speculum. The one on your right is the Pedersen. Now, let's see what you're supposed to look for. That is in 1032. 1032. You see the where it says inspect screw function. That screw is to hold the two blades in place. the two blades in place, and then one of the screws is to help the speculum to open. To help the speculum to open is one of the screws. All right. So it opens. Once you screw in, the speculum's mouth will open and the vaginal cavity will open. Once you unscrew, try to remove the screw, the blade comes down and then the vaginal cavity will close. You need to check the screws to make sure they are in place. You need to check the screws to make sure that they are functioning well. You need to open and close by screwing to make sure that the speculum is opening and closing so that it performs the function that it's supposed to do. Yes. Then we said, yeah, my brother, you continue with the reading. Okay, so now I don't think I have anybody there to read. So we have this. Now, point of inspection, you ensure the thumb screws are present. We talked about that. The thumb screw is where you open and close. That is the device. That is the screw at the top, not the one at the bottom. The screw at the top is the thumb screw. You check that. And the blades, you check blades for cracks. Remember that the device or this instrument is used in the vagina. So the vagina is a very delicate place. You have to make sure that you don't hurt somebody's sister, somebody's wife, somebody's what? Girlfriend. So you have to make sure that you check to make sure it has a smooth, there are no cracks, there are no any breezes, there are no sharps anywhere, so that it would harm anybody's daughter, anybody's wife. All right, next slide. Any questions so far? Any question? Nail cutter. Nail cutter or nail clippers. Nail nippers. The same thing. Nail cutter, nail nippers, nail clippers. The same thing. Okay. Used for trimming toenails and fingernails. All right. So if you go to a podiatrist and your nails are infectious or they have some fungus underneath the nails and what have you, they use the nail clippers and the nail nippers to cut them and have access to the place to work on. They are also used for small bone fragments. It means they can use them to cut small bones. All right. Some people's nails can grow and become hard like a bone. Okay, so if you go to a podiatrist, that is what they will use to cut those stubborn, overgrown nails. What do we do? What are the inspection points? Again, the cutting tip, you have to look at it. Check cutting blades for sharpness and what? Damage. Examine the hinge and springs mechanism to make sure that they are working, no cracks, the screws are in place. All right. Next slide. Post-care, post-operative care of the surgical instrument. Post means after. Post-surgery care. Post-operative means post-surgery care of surgical instrument. What do we do after surgery to care for the instrument, to care for those babies that bring us paycheck? All right. We talked about point of use, and thank God I was the same person we talked about it. So as soon as surgery is done, cleaning starts from the operating room, where we call point of use. So it says, after use, instruments should be prevented from drying out with moistened towels. We talked about that when we're talking about point of use. Or enzymatic solution, you spray them. Everybody remembers that? Right. So now,
Yes.
good. Now, we need to pay attention to some chemicals that we deal with, or some solutions that we deal with that could damage the instruments. One is saline exposure. Saline exposure accelerates rusting and pitting. Rusting and what? Pitting. Saline. If you put instrument inside saline for a long time, they will begin to cause rusting and pitting. Now, even before we get there, if you want to know whether something you notice on an instrument is a rust or a pitting, all that you do is that if you have an eraser, which is commonly used alongside a pencil, you use the eraser on the device. If it goes away, what you saw goes away, is a stain. If what you saw after using the eraser does not go away, it means it's a rust or pitting. It means that your instrument is about to die. It's about to be taken out of service permanently, because no rusty instrument is supposed to be in the OR. Then we have non-approved cleaning solutions, such as household cleaners, bleach, and abrasives should not be used. So your dishwashing soap, your laundry soap, your whatever you use cannot, because same way you cannot use decontamination or detergent to come on wash your dishes in the house. You don't do vice versa. All right, let's use the appropriate detergent or chemical or solution to do it. All right. Instruments should be promptly transported for central sterile for decontamination after surgery. This point is overemphasized. Next slide. So you have a list of all the solutions you should not be entertaining with your instruments. Common betadine, peroxide, dish soap, soaking in water or saline, bleach, iodine, hand soap, long-term soaking in rust or stain removers. So yes, stain remover is good, but if you do it too much or you leave it in there too much, it's not good. Everything is good, but excess of it becomes problem, right? Then porcelain cleaners. Porcelain cleaners are things that we use for taking out cement. All right, something related to cement. You wonder what is cement doing in the OR. You get to know it. Most of the orthopedic surgeries, cement comes into place. When somebody do total hip replacement, that's why they cannot bend. If something falls, you have to pick it for them. They cannot bend. They bend, trouble come. Household lubricants. So your household lubricant, your lotion you have, you can't. That's why when you get to the sterile processing department, you wash your hand. Okay. Surgeon's hand scrubs. Now, then laundry detergent. Yep, can do that. So all of these are some of the detergents, not all the list, but some that we should not entertain having anything to do with our instrument. Impact of saline on instruments. Saline exposes acylation. We saw that, PT and that. So if you leave or you soak an instrument in the saline, the only solution is what? You have to rinse it thoroughly. You have to rinse it thoroughly so that you can get all the saline off the face of the instrument. Next slide. Question. All right. No question means we are following. But when questions are not coming, it looks like we are not following, but it means we are following. Now, so to differentiate between rust and stain is what I described with the eraser. That's what they are talking about here. Okay. So if you notice a spot that you think is you're suspecting the instrument is rusted, what you do is you use your eraser. If the eraser takes away what you saw, it's a stain. If it does not, then is a what? A rusting. It means that it's beginning to rust, or what we call pitting is about to happen. Okay, now pay attention to what we are going to do here. This slide, this next slide. Pay attention. Before I have a conversation on this next slide, or this slide that we are all watching, please ask questions. If anybody has a question, ask. All right. So all the cutting, the biting, the shaving the devices we have seen, the instrument we have seen, we are now coming to see how we can test them for functionality. So that's what they have the instrument sharpness testing and identification. Instrument sharpening, testing, identification. So each line, you have 3 sections. The instrument is on the first column, on the left column. The middle column is the materials that is used to test the instrument. The last column, or the right-hand side column, is the results that you are expecting for it to show, for you to know that it is functioning or performing its job. So if you take, for example, a scissors which is less than 4.5 inches, a scissors which is less than 4.5 inches, that scissors, you call it Irish scissors. Most of the Irish scissors are less than, oh, sorry, my bad, greater than 4.5. Oh, my goodness. Greater than or equal to 4.5. The first line, I'm taking the first line. So any scissors that is greater than or equal to 4.5 inches, we use the red or orange latex. Red or orange latex material. I'm just speaking abstract. Maybe the next slide will show us those pictures or those materials. Now, which scissors is greater than 4.5? The Mets, the Mayor. That's why. And with the testing requirement is that it must cut cleanly to the tip. So it must not cut and stop somewhere, and then the other part will be snaggy. No. It must cut clean to the tip. Then it means the scissors is what? Sharp. And you do that 2 or 3 times to make sure that maybe the first one was not a fluke. The next line is any scissors less than 4 inches, which is the Irish I was talking about. The material we use is yellow latex. Yellow latex is same thing. It must cut cleanly to the tip. It must not stop. And you test it, you do the cut 2 or 3 times to be sure that the first one was not a false clean. Then bone cutter. Bone cutter we use index card. Index card. How many of you, I'm sure most of you on this platform, you might have seen, everybody has been to school before, you might have seen flashcard before. Index card is almost like a flashcard that you use to write your very important information and then be sitting in the train and be going through, all right? So index card is what we use for testing bone cutter. Must cut off a clean section. Same thing, it must cut all the way to the tip. Round jaws, index card. It must punch. Round jaws are punch, they punch. So it must punch, the punch must be clean. And then the punch, the card, whatever you have punched, it must fall. That piece that you have punched, it must fall. It must not be hanging. Once it is hanging, it means that it didn't cut clean. Laminotomy round jaw, same thing, index card. Should create a clean bite using half the jaw. Then double action round jaw index card. So you see the round jaws are using a lot of the index card, right? So it should also clean bite. Clean bite means that when you bite it, it should cut clean. It shouldn't cut and be hanging. Bone correct. Then we shift to a new gear. Bone correct is used. The testing device is plastic door rod. Plastic door rod. Is how many of us have seen candlesticks before? A lot of guys have seen candlesticks. It's in the form of a candlestick. It's clear like that, but it's very hard. So it corrects, bone correct. You place it on the candle, that rod, and then you pull to see whether it will scoop. And it has to scoop nicely. Okay? It has to scoop. So it says what? How do you test it? Or it say this they play the years, they use shave. So it must shave off clean pieces. It must shave off clean pieces. The pieces must be uniform throughout the journey of the scoop. Then chisels and osteotomes use the same material. Use the same plastic door rod. Must shave off clean pieces. Now let's go and see the actual materials they're talking about as index card, yellow, latex, red, orange. Kaboom. Yes, there we go. There we go. So these are the various latex materials they have there. But the conversation we had, we just talked about the yellow and then the red. You have the orange there. They have the blue and then other material. But yellow is for less than 4 inches scissors. That is the Irish. The red or the orange is for, I think this material is orange, right? Somebody help me. I'm not a color person. Is it orange?
Yellow. First
no,
one?
the one by yellow. The one after yellow.
Yes.
It's orange. It's orange. All right, good. So this for whatever we have discussed today, the smaller, I don't want to use the smaller. The shorter scissors is used on the yellow for testing. The longer one, the medicine bomb or the mayo scissors is used on the orange one. Regardless whether it is tungsten carbide or supercard, it's the same thing. You use the same testing materials. Next slide, boss, director. Oh, where are we? Is that the next slide, director?
Yes, instrument identification method.
Okay, instrument identification method. Yeah, okay, right, I get it. Now, some use tape to identify instrument. What they do, they tape the shank of the instrument. I think it says, is it 1/2? The length of the tape that you have to apply. And then this instrument is cooked or is sterilized. In central style, when we say cook, it means it is sterilized. It is sterilized in a temperature of 270, and then this tape will stick to the shank of the instrument, and it stays there and helps it to be identified. Now, when the tape begins to chip or to come off, you have to remove the whole tape and put a new tape if you so desire. Now, that is one of the cheapest way to get it. The other way is to send it to a vendor to do what we call dipping. They put a silicone or some raw plastic material around the rings of the instrument to help it to be identified. Some surgeries or end users want a certain color. As soon as they see, they say, "This is my instrument. Why do you have it? It belongs to me." All right. So identification purposes, they use tape, they do dipping. Let's see what it says there. So common instrument marking methods. Tape marking. So that apply tape only on the shank, not the rings. The shank, not the ring. The shank, not the ring. Why is are we saying we should apply it on the shank and not the ring? This one you can't see it on the slide, so you have to apply. This is application of knowledge. Why are we saying that it should be applied on the shank? That is the distance between the box lock to your ratchet. Why are we saying that the tape should be applied there? Okay, so think about it. Let's go. If you know the answer, prompt me by the end of the lesson. So clean the instrument, apply tape at an angle for a flat layer. Okay, autoclave the instrument for bond of the tape or to bond the tape. So that's why I say you should sterilize it. That's when they say autoclave means sterilize. So the heat, the steam heat in there will let the tape hold onto the shank. Regularly inspect for loose or peeling tape to prevent what? Contamination. So when the tape is coming out, you take everything out, and if you need to apply a new one, you do. Then we have another way to identify is to do acid-base etching. Acid-base etching. So use electricity solutions and a stencil to mark instruments. So some instruments come with some special writings on them. Okay, those either they use the drill, they use if some of you those of you who like watching games, at the end of the tournament, at the end of the game, especially soccer, with soccer, Americans call soccer, the British call it football. So at the end of every major competition, a trophy is given to the final winner. So what do? They use some device to print or to write the name of the club or the nation, the country that won the event. Okay, some instruments also come with that. All right. Okay, very important. Then say semi-permanent but may fade after repairs. So it means that some of them are permanent, some of them are semi-permanent. Semi-permanent after multiple uses and through washer, steaming, or autoclaving, they will begin to disappear. All right. Next slide, Director. Instrument identification. Okay. Heavy heat fused nylon. That is the dipping. Heat fused nylon. Heat. You heat the nylon, get it to liquid form, dip it there in a controlled temperature or controlled environment. Then the nylon will stick onto the part you want to be done. And the dipping is always done on the ring. The dipping is always done on the ring. It leaves a thin, durable color coat on the instrument. They are long lasting, but once they begin to chip, you got to remove them. Just as when the tape is peeling off, you take it out. When the coating is chipping off, you take it. You take it to repair and they take everything out. Then the laser etching, durable and precise. Typically applied by manufacturer or repair vendor. Yeah, the etching is done by the manufacturer. Then dot matrix marking. Dot matrix marking. I think this is if I'm not mistaken, is the one the tournament one I was talking about. I could be wrong. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Two types. Dot marking system uses barcode one labels. Barcode. Yes. So there's a bar now. If lately is almost all the instruments have at the box lock. You see a barcode. Barcode. If it's sometimes if you scan that barcode, it can give you information about the instrument. They use that also as a identification. Not every company does that. All right. Then dot pin system. Dot pin system uses laser or tungsten scarlet to imprint data on it. So we have tape, we have laser eye etching, we have dot metrics, we have deeping. All of that are forms of what? Identifying instrument. Next slide. Now, when we are talking about instrument lubrication. Instrument lubrication. When instruments are manufactured, they lubricate them to make sure that the box lock, the hinge, is opening and closing freely. Same way, over time, the instrument becomes stiff at the box lock. It needs to be what? Lubricated. Either manually or mechanically. Manually means that you, the tech, will have to apply the lubricant to the box lock to release it from its stiffness, if you notice that. Okay? And mechanically, the machine that the instrument goes through by washing has a stage where it lubricates the instrument on its own. So, but even though you may have a machine or washer that lubricates the instrument, you still have to do it manually if you notice it is what? Stiff. All right? If you notice it is what? Stiff. So it says, moving instruments must be lubricated after each use. A neutral pH lubricant is there. So your manager will provide for each workstation. It's most of the time they are in the form of what? Milk. It's in the form of milk. The one by the machine uses it's in the form of a milk. You spray it and then you're good to go. It will release it right away. What does it do? When you do lubrication, what are you doing? You are prolonging the lifespan of the instrument. You are providing the lifespan of the instrument, and then you promoting the functionality or you're enhancing the functionality of the instrument. So you improve the functionality, you extend or the lifespan of the instrument, and then it eases surgical handling. The surgeon does not have to apply a lot of energy to get it to work. But you cannot just take your cooking oil from the house and go and lubricate your instruments in the department. You have to get approved lubricants. So we have a variety of them. Each hospital uses different one. So depending on the hospital, you should have one. Okay, and your manager will be able to provide you with one. So that is why when we are going to work, we get to work, we have to wash our hands. Maybe you had a bowl of fufu with some palm nut soup, or you had a bowl of banku with some groundnut soup. Your hands are oily. You were running late, so you didn't wash your hand properly. You just put on your clothing and you ran to catch the next train to work. You get there, wash your hands. All right? Before you start work. Apply lubricant to hinge areas and moving parts. So hinge, the box lock, and any other parts that is moving, apply it. All right. Some washers, disinfectants automatically lubricate instrument, but manual application may still be needed. I mentioned that. Next slide, Director. We are about to get out of here. All right. Tips to protect instrument from damage. Tips, tricks. Tips here is mean tricks to protect instrument from what? Damage. Okay. 1, proper handling and storage to extend instrument life. So when you protect instrument, you are extending their life. 1, follow manufacturer's IFU. So you have to follow what the manufacturer says. If you do that, you protect the instrument and you extend its lifespan. 2, proper tray assembly. Very, very, very important. What do we mean by proper tray assembly? Okay, meaning that in the tray, we have variety of different instruments. We have those that are heavy, we have those that are light, we have those that are delicate. You cannot put a delicate item at the bottom and put a heavy thing on it. The next day, you'll be in the market looking for one to buy. You don't want to do that. That's what we mean by proper assembly. If you do that trick, if you keep that trick on your fingertip, you'll be the best worker. You will not have any issues, because sometimes the instrument, the tray or the set passes through so many hands, from sterilization to storage to being picked to being transported to the OR. A lot of hands come into place, and maybe your instrument might move from from a pouch into the bottle or the DC, and then along the transport you get damaged, or you will intentionally put there because you have not followed the trick. If you have been doing what you're supposed to do and by accident the instrument damages you, your conscience is clear. But if you are not, you are breaking the rule and then the instrument is damaged, you will see that you blame yourself for it. So proper tray assembly is very, very important. Heavy instruments go to the bottom, and then the light ones are at the top. All right. And then it says, in doing that, also select basket or trays that have adequate space to contain your instrument. You should not use a shallow basket when you have deep instruments. So deep instruments, use deep baskets. Instruments that are not big, you can use shallow instruments, and the space might be such that when the instruments are there, they are well laid, and even if there's any tossing here and there, it will not have any impact on them. They use protective cases. So delicate instrument, you use protective cases. So macro instrument, we have instruments that have soft mats in them. Those soft mats are supposed to protect those delicate, those fragile instruments, those instruments that can easily break, they can easily bend. If like those instruments they are used by the eyes, the ears, they are very, very delicate. They are very, very fine. A slight bend, the doctor will start screaming. You cannot use it. It will delay the case and a whole lot. So remember that those are the tricks. Follow the IFU. Use proper instrument assembly. Use instrument basket with enough space so that you don't cramp, you don't squeeze everything in there. They have to take out the instrument using aseptic method, meaning that they have to take out the instrument without contaminating it. So if your instruments are so squeezed inside a basket, eventually they will get contaminated before they get to the Starfield. They can't even take them out. The stringer is catching the basket end to end. The instruments have been cramped. No good. Next slide. Okay, use instrument. No. That take me back to the other one. Yeah, instrument stringers. Okay, so most of the instruments that have hinges, they have box locks, scissors, coca, mosquito, Hartman, what? Mosquito, med scissors, Mayor, Crowwood, needle holder, Mayor Hager needle holder, Kelly. All of those ones have box locks. They have to be put on the stringer. Then the mallet, the rongeur, the carisons will have to be at the bottom of the tray. Okay, the forceps, Addison, tissue, plain faucet, tooth faucet, rat tooth faucet, all of those go to another compartment we call the pouch. You get all of this looks abstract. When you get to the floor, very easy, very, very simple. So your every hinge instrument should be on the stringer and opened. Why is this supposed to be open? Oh, the answer is there, fossilization. All right, the fossilization. So you need to open it so that the surface or it is exposed to sterilization, so that if there are any spores on it, it will be killed or it will be dead before it gets to the OR. Then it says laser finish instruments, please avoid, for laser finish instrument, please avoid metal to metal contacts to prevent chipping and scratching. Laser finish instrument. Okay, do not use metal to metal. So your basket, you must have something at the bottom to cushion the instrument so that it does not have contact with the raw metal basket. All right. Use silicone mats to protect that. Yes. Some places silicone mats. Some people they use liners. Some people they use towels. Some places, depending on the hospital facility, follow the protocol so that you can prolong the life of this instrument. All right. Next slide. So, in conclusion, all that we've been trying to do tonight is, hey, to be able to identify and inspect instruments. You can identify instruments by their tip, by their rings, by the function they do, by where it is used in the body or in surgery. All of that are clues to identify instruments. Okay? So, and we also want to make sure that instrument trays are assembled correctly so that the right instruments are put in there because we know the impact. If the wrong instrument is there, it's going to delay the case, it's going to impact the patient negatively. We must also follow the IFU of the manufacturer so that we do not destroy or damage the instrument, so that we can also prolong the lifespan of the instrument. All right? And in all of this, in trying to do this, what is your role? Your role is to touch every instrument. Make sure that you touch every instrument before procedure. Why? Why do you have to touch? What is the essence of touching the instrument? You're not just touching. This touch here we are referring to the fact that you cannot inspect it without touching. That is what it is here. It's not just touch it and then go, touch it and go. No, you have to touch. When it says touch means that you have to take a look at it, examine it for functionality, for cracks, for biobedding. All right. That is why you cannot use 5 minutes to put together a tray or a set that has 150 instruments. It means that you are breaking the rule. You are cutting corners. and you should not be doing that. You are professionals, highly trained. So I wouldn't advise you do that because you get into trouble. They will always go invite you to your the manager's office with your delegates. Okay, when you get this job, you might be privileged to work in a hospital that has a union. So if you have trouble, they ask you to bring your delegate so that they will tell you your trouble. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be bringing people to the manager's office for that conversation. Everybody should try as much as possible to avoid that. And to be able to do that, inspect your instruments. Yes, you are a human being. Once in a while, it will slip. Either you are multitasking and therefore something happened, it won't slip. Okay, that's cool because you are a human being. But if it's repeating every week, there's an issue, your file will be full. Okay? And there will not be space to keep your file. All right. Now, let me just do my thing. What's the time now? I don't know why I cannot see it. Oh my God, the time is gone. All right, so I can't do my thing anymore. Any question before we call it a day? Any question for me? My question is still there unanswered. Why do we tape the shank and not the ring? Everybody think about it. Tomorrow when we come in, see if somebody has any answer.
John,
Can you repeat that one more time? You said, why do we do what?
Why do we put the tape to identify the instrument? Why do we put the tape on the shank, which is the space between the box lock and the ratchet? That part between the box lock and the ratchet is where we put the tape. Why do we put the tape there and not the rings? All right. So the class is over. If there's no question, I hand you over to the director. Sorry, I have to spend